Hi everyone, Able Cunningham here, Bigfoot Scientist. I'm joined by my partner Ricardo, or Joe for short. We're out here in the Jeep and doing some four-wheeling, looking for Bigfoot. We had to stop and take a break, and we thought what better opportunity than to read a witness encounter that, ever since we launched the website and went public as Bigfoot Scientists, my email's been blowing up with people who've seen Bigfoot and want to share their encounters. And I'm happy to give them a forum to share their encounters. It's brave of them to come forward.
Yep. You've always been giving in that sense.
Yeah. Well, I from personal experience, I can recognize how hard it is to come forward with your encounter. So the least I can do is give others a voice to share their encounter, and I'm happy to do that here on my platform. The one we're going to read today is a hunter who claims that he was saved by Bigfoot.
Nice.
So Bigfoot gets a bad rap, Politis is out there claiming Bigfoot is snatching people in national parks, and I'm sure, there are some bad Bigfoots out there. There's some bad seeds everywhere.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But like people, there are good Bigfoots and there are bad Bigfoots, and I think this story is a great example.
Refreshing.
So I'll go to the email.
I don't see anything.
As long as the light's flashing, we're good. So, dear Abel, thank you for your great work. I appreciate how you share others' encounters. I thought you might be interested in this encounter that I had as a child. Of course, I'm always interested to hear of others' encounters.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a safe one if you're a child.
Find out, I guess. So I was out hunting with my father in an area we hadn't been to before. I was probably 12 years old. And my father had sat me down in a spot where we had seen a lot of deer sign, and my father was going to circle around and try to basically get the deer moving and hopefully bring them in the kids' direction.
Makes sense.
Back to the story. So, I was sitting down. It had been maybe half an hour since my father circled around, and a big buck came into the clearing right where I was sitting. It was about 100 yards away at first, but he was headed my direction, so I was patient till he was about 70 yards away. I pulled up, had him clear in my crosshairs, fired, and I must have shot high. I felt the gun pull high the minute I pulled the trigger. I think we can relate to that too.
Yep.
As much as experienced as a hunter you are, sometimes you still get those shakes. You get the jitters.
I'm impressed that the kid was patient enough to let him come in that close. I mean, that alone is something most hunters spend 40 years to accomplish, So.
Right. But it looked like I hit the deer because he jumped straight up, but then he ran off, jumped back into the woods where he came from over a stone wall, and was gone. I was so excited and nervous, I didn't know what to do, and I jumped up and I chased after him. And I forgot the pack with my water, but I did have my rifle. So I could see within half a second where the deer had gone into the woods because I could see the blood stain. So at that point I was even more excited, and I was also feeling bad for the deer. I didn't want to, leave a wounded deer in the woods, so I started running after him as fast as I could.
Kid already has good hunting ethics, which I love to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although maybe running after him isn't the best idea.
Well, now we know that, but poor kid, gung ho, and he wants to do the right thing, but he also he wants to get a kill.
Right.
Right.
So I was running for maybe 5 minutes. I don't know how long, and I was still seeing drops of blood every once in a while, but I started to get out of breath, so I slowed down to a walk, continued to follow the blood trail for a little bit longer, and then it started to rain. Well, that's not a good situation.
That sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks.
You want to be stuck in a situation where you're out in the woods and you don't know where you are and it's raining.
Yeah.
It can be hypothermia.
Yep, dangerous. I mean, just slipping and falling, you know, you got your weapon on you, you know, it's just never good.
Yeah.
Never a good time.
So then I continued to follow the trail for a few more minutes, but then I started to get panicked. I started thinking about that I was far off from where my father thought I was, and I wasn't sure where I was going. So I panicked and I started running back in what I thought was the direction of where I was headed. And at this point I was sprinting because I was nervous. It was getting late and cold and rainy. Can relate to that.
Absolutely. I mean, before talking to you and going through your training and your seminars, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
You know, you think you want to get home. You want to get home now fast, you know. You're going to, whether it's right direction or wrong direction, you're going to head there.
Right.
You know?
And the problem with that, I mean, we've all had those feelings. The problem is you don't know which direction you're running.
Yep.
You could be running in the complete wrong direction. So I continued sprinting until I had felt I had definitely run further than I should have to be back in the clearing, and I would stop to catch my breath, and I realized I didn't have my rifle. I must have dropped my rifle somehow in my panic, and now I start to get even more nervous.
He's a kid, everybody. Don't get mad. And don't forget, this isn't a 30-year-old man, you know?
Right. We all make mistakes. I mean,
Absolutely.
a lot of the people in the Missing 411 series, you know, they were very experienced hikers and hunters. Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
And they still ended up getting snatched by Bigfoot or aliens or goblins or something.
Who knows?
Yeah.
They may just disappear.
Who knows?
You know?
Maybe. Or, you know, in a lot of the cases, they were actually found and everybody but David Paulides knows about it. But that didn't stop him from including them in his...
Well, how should that stop you?
Yeah.
You know, just because you were wrong 5, 6, 7 times and nothing actually happened to the people doesn't mean there's a chance that maybe something could happen to them.
Right.
You know, so if everything is an emergency or you know, then God bless. You know, God bless.
Just because an unsolved mystery has actually been solved 10 years before you write your book, I mean, that doesn't mean it's not a good story that you should include in your book.
No,
I mean,
I understand.
a lot of people don't know it was solved, so, you know, those people...
In today's day and age, people need content. You know what I mean? And they needed content in books. Same idea. I kind of get it. Sounds a little cheesy, most of us, but I get it. You know, I get it.
You got to make a buck somehow.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the story. Long story short, I ended up completely disoriented without my rifle. Now it's got dark, raining, and I'm really starting to panic. But I got my head together enough to start walking downhill. Now that's a good move. Anytime you're lost in the woods, what they say is walk downhill till you get water, follow the water, and then it'll eventually lead you out of the woods. So the kid's on the right path. But, you know, eventually it was getting too dark to even navigate, but I was able to locate a cave in the rock face. So I figured I might as well go in there and try to build a fire, whatever else. And I can't do this. So sorry about the outtake there. We were volume. Music's too loud.
It's something that doesn't get said in Jeeps very often.
So we were kind of faking it there. I thought I loaded an email so we could read it out here in the wilderness, but
You can't say that. I think it's a start.
I think it's better to tell the truth. But I don't have service, so I was trying to read this story from memory, the witness account from memory, and I thought my memory was better than it is, I guess. But the gist of the story is the kid ended up in a cave, spent the night in the cave. I think he had fallen down a hill and broke his leg.
Oh shit, after the cave?
No, before he found the cave.
Now that makes more sense to me. Because at first I'm thinking you're going to just walk to a cave. It's kind of scary to do. But if you're injured, yeah, you got to get protection. I get it.
Right.
That makes way more sense.
That's right.
God damn, your memory is getting bad.
That's right. He was going downhill and he fell off a cliff in the dark. Broke his leg or injured his leg. I don't remember.
Because the kid had all these good senses, you know, good hunter ethics, good choices, and then now it makes more sense. Okay.
And then after he fell off the cliff, he'd injured his leg, and he looked back up at the cliff where he fell off.
Yep.
And there was a cave.
Okay.
And so he climbed his way into the cave, you know, with his busted leg, and was able to spend the night in the cave. He said he wasn't able to get a fire going because everything was too wet, and you know, he couldn't move around well enough to collect enough timber.
Absolutely.
Anyway, in the middle of the night, he's surprised by a large creature that walked upright, very human-like, but with a lot more hair, coming into the cave. And at first he was terrified because he thought this, you know, Bigfoot was going to kick him out of the cave that he was in. Which way should we go?
That says Mount Curiosiris Warner, point south, and this is Tucker Pond.
This is the way that brings us back towards the way we want to go. We're getting further and further. So anyways, Bigfoot comes in his cave in the middle of the night, and the kid's terrified. I mean, wouldn't you be?
Jesus.
Yeah. Got a broken leg, you can't run, you can't play back.
Abel. Yeah. I'm already terrified as a kid. You know what I mean? I'm in a cave with a broken leg, already terrified.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Then you had Bigfoot on top of it.
Jeez. God bless this kid.
Anyway, so the Bigfoot, again, I'm not reading it verbatim because I'm just trying to recite it from memory. So it's not going to be exactly the way it looks on the website.
And we all know it's memory. We just saw it.
It has nothing to do with the true lease. The Bigfoot recognizes that he's hurt and is able to go around and scrounge up some nuts and mushrooms and such.
What?
And brings him back to the kid to feed him for the night. And some water.
I didn't expect this.
Yeah. And he said the Bigfoot was even able to get a fire going for him.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
Some scientists have suspected that some Bigfoot have developed the ability to use fire. And I've seen some evidence of it myself in the field. But it's good to have it validated by, you know,
yeah. And your evidence, if my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding, the evidence is that they know how to make fire, but they don't need fire. Like us, for instance, you know, we get lost in the woods, we got to cook the meat, we're gonna die, you know, we have to have fire.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Is my understanding correct on that?
Yeah, that's 100% correct.
That's amazing.
One of the examples, there was a hollowed out log that had been clearly burned in the middle.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people might think that was struck by lightning, but lightning just doesn't go down the middle of a tree.
No, you're going to see evidence all around the tree, you know?
Completely illogical.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was Bigfoot that had used fire to, like, carve out, you know, just the way Indians, Native Americans used to use fire to, like, haul out bowls and whatnot.
Yeah.
Bigfoot had used fire to make like a little nest in this hollow tree.
No kidding.
So anyways, I can recognize how Bigfoot will use fire. We gotta get out of before low here. So Bigfoot starts a fire for this kid.